There's a lot of our patients now who go online first.
Yeah.
It's either Google or let me go to TikTok. More and more of us doctors are on the space. We're using digital platforms to inform, to educate, to debunk myths and misinformation.
Maybe 1 or 2, 3 hateful comments used to affect me back then.
Right.
Now I just laugh at it.
Medicine traditionally trains us to be very, very reclusive.
Yeah.
We are supposed to be, creme de la creme. Like, don't smile, makeup, nini.
You need to consume medical contents with a lot of caution, for sure. Because not everyone who's out there is giving the right information.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Circling the Rabbit Hole podcast with me, Dr. Claire Kinuthia. Another day, another topic, and I'm excited for this one because it comes very, very close to home, and it's a little bit different because we're looking at healthcare through a different lens slightly, but even more relevant now in the digital space that we find ourselves in. We are in an era where the internet has pretty much taken over, and I think it's important to have this conversation so that we can debunk some of the myths and some of the challenges that those of us in healthcare who have decided to start using the internet and digital media for information, education purposes, for growing businesses, for thriving, that we can debunk some of the challenges that we face and also celebrate the wins that we've had so far. Before we get into the conversation, I'd really like to thank our location partner, that's Ashley Furniture Home Store, as well as Fair Deal Furniture. Thank you so much for hosting CTRH podcast. And jumping right in, as is the tradition. This one is going to be a fun one, I feel like.
Yeah,
because first of all, you're a natural on screen, on set, on everything.
Yeah, I think it's come with time.
Yeah, so I'll ask you, as is the tradition on CTRH, to introduce yourself so that the audience know who you are, where we can find you on social, so your handles, which I'll also include in the description. But then tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I had stopped doing podcasts, but then when you called, I said, I'll have something for you for sure.
Yay.
So my name is Dr. Naph Macharia. I'm a dentist. Okay, let me do a bigger description.
Yes, please.
I'm a Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of a clinic called the Dental Spa, founded around 2.5 years ago with my best friend. I'm also a dental implant surgeon. I am currently doing my master's in aesthetic dentistry.
Okay.
And I am a lover of life.
There we go.
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited to have you because before I met you and got to know you, I knew of you because I saw you online. And so I thought you would be the perfect person to have this conversation with.
Yeah.
And just to introduce the conversation, today I'd like to talk about the influential doctor. And that's the title that we will have, where we're starting to have so much more access to health information and misinformation, health, educational purposes. There are so many, let's see, what's the word that I will use? Because there's audience, which is informal, patients, because we use patients.
We use patients,
so there's a lot of our patients now who go online first. It's either Google or let me go to TikTok or let me go to some sort of Instagram, anything on social media and see if I Google the term, the disease, the condition, what comes up. And that's where I get my information from. So now more and more of us doctors are on the space. We're using digital platforms to inform, to educate, to debunk myths and misinformation, and then to also just create a presence for ourselves, because again, with fame, popularity comes influence.
That's true.
And you set yourself apart as what's the word I'm looking for?
Leader in the market
exactly.
or something.
Something like that, but now medical.
In the medical field.
The medical field.
Exactly,
So there's a lot of respect as well that comes with that. So for me, let's start from the very beginning, because I knew you first on TikTok. So how did that start? How did you land there?
That's interesting. So let's go back 5 years ago. There was COVID, and still 5 years ago I finished school.
Right
before COVID, I finished school. So this is at the end of 2019. So I just finished school and started my internship. So I done 6 months, and then in March there was COVID. So I did another 6 months of interrupted internship. We were at work, then we're not at work. Just because remember COVID, the respiratory tract system, the mouth. So they really tried to keep us away from work.
Non-essential services were
exactly.
shut
So
down.
we just go and do emergency patients, patients with abscesses, in pulp pain. Then I finished after 6 months. That's around October 2020. So you remember with devolution as well, there was no posting anymore after you finish your internship, unlike the previous years. So you have to look for a job. Even if the counties are employing, it was just maybe 2 or 3 slots in different hospitals.
It was competitive. You had to apply. It's no longer the automatic.
Exactly. It's even worse now. So my boss, she was my boss. Now my former lecturer at that time reached out, and she was like, hi, I'm starting a clinic and I would like to work with you. Have you finished your internship? Where are you now? Because you remember how they do, so you still have your day job. I mean, this is your side hustle. You have your own clinic somewhere. So she was still teaching at the university, and she was starting this new practice up. So I was like, I have just finished and I want to take a break for like 2 or 3 weeks, and then I start looking for jobs, because you know how internship is. Internship is bad. It's so hectic.
Listen, you couldn't pay me to go back to that time of my life. You could not.
Internship, I don't know why they are mean.
I don't know. Because again, it's counteractive to learning. So I don't know why. Or maybe because what my seniors used to say is, me, I lived through it and I survived. So even you will survive.
Such bad mentality.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like how your parents are like, nilitembea bila viatu pia unafaa.
Sikuwa navaa shorts. Hata trousers ni luxury. So even you need to,
It's projecting. So that's what happened. So now she called me. I saw the clinic. It had just started being set up. It was not even done yet. So it was like brand new. So in the first like few weeks, she finished setting up. I was still going there to receive things for her while she was away, just familiarize myself with the place. Then we started in November. So when we started, the first month we only saw like 3 patients, literally. One of them was my brother. The other one
we always start at home.
Was a cousin to Daktari. It's just the one of the thing was a house manager for something. A whole month. So she had to pay me. She has to pay rent. It was really not making any sense. So we went into December. That's December 2020. The same thing. Maybe 3 to 5 patients the whole month. During this time, there was this app that has come up properly. It's called TikTok. Formerly it was called Musically, and then now it became TikTok. And then during COVID, everyone was using it. So people would dance. Remember the dance challenges there? That's how it was booming. And then lip syncs. That's how it started. So I was a consumer. I was a proper consumer. And then we had been employed, 2 of us, me and a nurse. So I used to tell the nurse, have you seen this challenge? We would look at it, we'd laugh, and then that was it.
Right.
So in January 2021 now, we're still not seeing patients. So I'm just seated in the clinic, and then she's called Cindy, bless her soul. I tell Cindy, let's do a dance challenge for fun. It was literally for fun, because there's nothing we're doing anyway in the clinic. We get to work at 9, we leave at 5. We've only seen 1 patient or none at all. So we did a dance challenge, and I remember we got like 250,000 views. That was my first video to post on TikTok.
Okay.
And then so people started asking, you guys are doctors in Kenya. They've never seen that before. Are you doctors in Kenya? What are you guys? You know how the comment section usually So now we just start replying, yes, you can find us this and this place. We put the number there. And somehow we were able to see like 30-something patients in January from like 1 video. So we kept on doing more and more videos for fun. Until we now noticed, we're actually getting conversions. And patients are actually coming. So it was just a bit of serendipity, to be honest. We were starting out for fun. And then we realized, wow, this can actually translate to sales. So we started doing that with the point of now getting dental content out there. We dance and then we do videos to teach someone about braces, about implants, about fillings, about root canals.
Yeah.
And then now we went on and on.
Right.
And then building on top of that totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I started social media.
Okay, that's fascinating because again, TikTok at that time was literally, we are bored, we are in lockdown. People have nothing else to do. And then suddenly,
phone,
dance challenge here, it created a bit of a community. And like you said, because medicine traditionally trains us to be very, very reclusive. We are supposed to be, creme de la creme. You don't mingle with the community. You're not seen anywhere. So I'd be surprised if I went on and found a doctor who's active, especially locally. Because internationally, they did start ahead of us.
They did,
They took on the challenges and decided, let's try social media. But then here, there's also the cultural aspect of Daktari is supposed to present a certain way.
Tie, white coat.
Suit, I don't smile, makeup, nini, look like you're suffering. The thickest. Don't diss my day glasses.
Oh, that's you.
During the day job, I look like a proper geek.
Are you like that to your patients?
No, not anymore.
Or do you try to come to their level?
Not
anymore.
at all.
You used to be like that?
Of course, when I was in training, because
I
again, I'm
see.
under supervision, I'm in a government facility, you have dress codes. Even when I switched over to private sector, there's dress codes for doctors. You can't come to work in boots, you can't dress, you can't have your makeup or your hair colored.
Color your hair
exactly. We had a whole list of things we couldn't do. So stepping out of that was very uncomfortable for me. But then I translated it into, it's who I am as a person.
That's
and
true.
when I present my personality, and I think social media allows you to do that.
It does.
Then step into who you are, and those who gravitate towards you will do so.
In dental school, we couldn't even grow a beard.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's true. That's med school as well. There's rules against facial hair. That's true. No dreads, no colored braids.
And then the ladies in our class had to wear dresses, long dresses, no trousers.
Oh, no trousers?
Yeah.
Okay, that's extreme though.
Yeah, dental school was extreme.
That's extreme. As they told us what trousers you couldn't wear, but the formal ones you were fine.
And we were like 20 of us, so they would kick you out.
Actually, you guys were few.
Yeah, or pick on you.
Yeah. But now that you mention it, has there been any backlash on the medical side? So you are a dentist by training, and then you're on social media. How did your colleagues receive you initially?
So the young people liked it. They were just like, you're crazy. And then the older guys were like, you're crazy, but in a crazy bad way. Like there was so much resistance from it. You could even see like comments on like the WhatsApp group. They're like, let's uphold the professional standards. You see, they will not mention you. They will just throw in some whatever.
It's always passive aggressive.
Trying to bring up those conversations of, are we supposed to market on social media? And you can see,
is it allowed by law?
Is it allowed by law? So they're just trying to slice you, but they're not trying to, they'll not come for the jugular, but they're just going down
so
there,
it's you they're talking about.
And then everyone else, after so many other people started as well, now they became extremely uncomfortable with that. So the young people, most of the young people, really, they're just happy to see something like this can happen. You can see a lot of young people trying it as well. To see if they can work out for them in their own ways. But the older guys were totally against it, and I think they're still against it.
How do you navigate that? Because again, we come from a training system where it's a very hierarchical, not just by position, but also by age. Your seniors are your seniors. Your console, the console stays the console. Even when you're a console,
that's true.
You still refer to your seniors as your seniors.
That's true.
So how have you navigated the backlash from them and just owning your own space?
So now I could say when I went private, I had a bit more freedom compared to when I'm doing it at the public setup, like in the public hospitals, because they're directly above you. So in my private practice, if I want to work with a consult, I'll just call you. I need to do a case with you. We need to discuss something. So if you want to come
through.
It's on you.
If not,
it's okay. And so then you find that also because a lot of, I don't want to call them older consultants, they are very young consultants who finished their masters maybe a couple of years ago, are more open to that. So you find that those ones have no problem with that. But if I was still in the public sector, I know that it would be hell.
Because again, even now, I know of places, and not just public, again, private sector as well. And I feel like private sector more so is more micromanaging of such details, where I worked somewhere where I wasn't allowed to post online. I was a doctor practicing during COVID, not allowed to post about COVID. So then just posting about myself.
You have to post
now you've gone
yourself.
so far out of the realm of reality for someone like that. So I'd get calls from marketing team, from CEO's office, from because why are you online talking about COVID? You know, there's things like that, and you're like, but the part of my title as a doctor is educate, inform. So this is my platform. That's what I'm using it for. So I know there's a lot of restrictions, especially on contracts, people who are working full time. And so maybe they don't have as much leeway. But like you said, once you're in private practice, you have a bit more room to navigate.
If you're an entrepreneur, it's your own business, you're running it. You have more freedom to do whatever you want.
So what I'd like to know now, as we move on in the conversation, is what have your biggest wins versus challenges been now that you find yourself in the limelight more? Because again, yes, you're an entrepreneur, you're more independent, but there still must be challenges when you have a big following online.
That's true. So let me give you a perspective, something that changed my mind about numbers. So when I was starting out, I used to feel like my videos are not reaching many people. And I was talking to one of my mentors in the social space, and he told me, have you ever gone to a wedding and the wedding has 500 people and you've been asked to speak in front of 500 people? Those are so many people. So imagine if your video gets twice that, so that's 1,000 people. So you can imagine all those people who are at the wedding, two times that. Those are the number of people who consumed your content. They have families, they have friends. So they told me, when you're starting out, don't look at the numbers, just be consistent. Keep putting out your content on, and that really changed my perspective about it. Being in this space I've done content for 5 years now, since COVID was 5 years ago. I still don't believe it.
I know it's hard to believe, because we felt like our lives had shut down, changed forever. All of that, and then here we are
5 years later. So I've done this for 5 years now, and being on the space has helped me to build a reputable clinic. A clinic with a good name, a brand. Since we opened our clinic 2.5 years ago, we've seen 3,000 plus patients.
Wow. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
You know, we don't celebrate ourselves enough.
We don't enough.
Congratulations.
So we've seen 3,000 plus patients. I've been able to form a lot of social connections from this space. I say the most important capital is not financial capital, it is social capital. From social capital, you gain more than even financial capital.
True.
It's taken me to places. I've been nominated for awards and won some awards. Most inspiring male entrepreneur.
Right.
You see, and it's opened many doors for me. But my biggest highlight is growing the clinic, is seeing all these 3,000 plus patients and transforming their lives, improving their lives a smile a day, one smile at a time. When it comes to the biggest challenges, it's one. So when you open yourself out there for people, it's you who went out, so they have
so now suddenly everyone has an opinion
about you. If you didn't want them to have an opinion, they say you shouldn't have posted content. And that's the biggest challenge for me. But maybe 1 or 2, 3 hateful comments used to affect me back then. Now I just laugh at it and just walk past it, because that one comment does not stop me from achieving what I'm able to achieve by being out there. I
tend to look at, because again, I've done this. Gosh, even
we used
before.
to look up to you,
I know. I started to feel so old in this space.
We were in campus. We were like
I felt like, and that time, truly, we were maybe just 2 of us, maybe at that time. We were so few that it almost felt like you're talking to yourself and you're the madman in the market. That's what it felt like.
I can imagine,
honestly. And then I started with writing back when we were blogging, and then moved on. Now social media came and became more more prevalent in the space, so it's translating to that, and then now translating to being active on different social media platforms, and then finally now coming into podcasting. It's been such a journey where honestly I've navigated it long enough to be able to say this with confidence. I actually love the trolls.
I see.
The trolls inform me more than the people who love me.
I see.
Because again, it's not personal anymore, because when I started off, like you said, one mean comment and I'm done for the week. I'm like, oh my, why do I even do this? Like,
you so
you
much,
people don't even appreciate me. But what you're not seeing is it's one out of another 50.
Exactly.
So why did you not pay as much attention to the 50?
Yeah.
But then I changed my mindset around the haters, because the haters tell me when I'm doing something right.
That's true.
And the other thing is the haters are the ones who push your content further. And nobody talks about it. While you're writing for me bad comments and you're hitting share, look at this one, shameless. What you're doing is
raising my engagement.
Thank you.
That's
and I'm actually just sitting there going, oh, how lovely, how very lovely. Thank you very much.
It's moving, it's moving.
It moves and it gains traction on its own. So I tend to applaud the haters. Keep hating. Thank you.
Keep hating, please.
We appreciate you. But then you have to get to a point where you sort of like reevaluate your why. When you're on social media, because like you said, it gives you access, but it also gives people access to you. And the thing that people focus on is the haters. The thing I had to learn how to navigate, because me, thick skin, I mean, I'm a gynecologist. We deal with the most sensitive areas of human life. You can we have no filter, we have no shame. That's what I say about gynaes.
You shouldn't.
No filter, no shame, because I need to be a safe space for people at their most vulnerable. So my mindset towards hate and trolls, I was already prepared. What I wasn't prepared for was the pseudo relationships, the stalker, the sycophant who's like, I'm in love with you, and oh my gosh, if I can find you, now that got scary. And that's what I had to learn to navigate and create boundaries for. So maybe to turn the question to you, how have you been able to establish boundaries for yourself in terms of how much you engage? Because being on social media, part of the big engagement with your audience is keeping it real, keeping it authentic to yourself. How are you navigating that by creating boundaries that yes, I can tell you about something happening in my personal life, but it doesn't open the door to that, full access.
Exactly. I'm very intentional about that. One of the things that helps me to for my content to move and to gain traction and to have engagement is that I try to be relatable. Which is very important. And you see, like earlier on before set, we were talking about the stiff neck, you know, and like how many other people have got a stiff neck.
How you became a track.
I became a track. I was standing.
Just standing the whole
it's
body.
So funny, and I was struggling because I have to work, and my nurse is on this side, another one's on this side. I have to turn and pick. I was really struggling. So I was like, that's how a track turns. So I've tried to be very relatable, but without oversharing.
Right.
So I'll talk about something, you'll relate with it, but you do not have the details to that. Or even if you'll get the details to that, you'll get the details to that like 3-4 months later. But at the moment at which something happens, you get the information, but it's not overshared. So I just watch to overshare, to put people who don't want to be out there, like maybe say my family members. You'll know that my mom is there, maybe you'll see her once and that's it. Or my brothers and their children, you'll never really see them, but I'll give reference to them, but without oversharing. Another thing that has helped me on social media is consistency. I've stayed consistent for so long. Like I tell my friends that they ask me, and I'll tell you, please, on a random day, wake up and look at my page. There's a story, there's a post, there's something. Every single day I've put something out. I've tried to be authentic as possible. I'll tell you, this is what I do, this is what I do. I do this, I go here, I eat here, I have done this, I shop this, I spend this. You see. And then the last thing is to remain disciplined, because if you're not disciplined, you'll see that all these people, they come to your DMs and they'll send you whatever they want to send you. They will, but to remain relatable, you have to be friendly.
I have seen exactly what you're talking about.
You've seen exactly. so that for the boundaries, you remain friendly, but very firm, and you redirect that. Anything that's not related to teeth or a light banter here and there, I redirect it immediately, or I just ignore. Yeah, and that's it. Yeah.
Even me, I'm constantly fighting those battles.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Every
Because
single time. Yeah.
people don't understand social media from the lens of the creatives
That's
or the
true.
creators.
Yeah.
Because if you're consuming and
Yeah.
it's relatable, you feel like this person and me are exactly
We
the
are
same.
buddies.
We are buddies. In fact,
Yeah.
I went through exactly this. So I'll get responses to something I post that
Yeah.
will redirect the conversation. So like
Yeah.
today's conversation, if I posted,
Yeah.
then I'll get DMs for, hey, is he single?
Yeah.
Are you single?
Yeah.
Are you two together? And you're
They'll
like,
give- yeah,
"Hello?"
that's true. Yeah.
Where did that come from? And
Yeah.
yet we're literally talking about
About
the exact
something.
opposite thing, or we're talking about
Exactly.
something very specific.
True.
So having to learn how to navigate, like you said, discipline around, I'm
Yeah.
not going to overshare. And when I share something, it's something I'm comfortable sharing, but that's
That's true.
as much as I'm allowing you. So even if I've talked about it, doesn't mean now you have full
Stops there.
access.
Yeah, it stops
you have to
there.
create a boundary.
Yeah.
This one is a fun one for me.
Yeah. Tell me. Yeah.
You have navigated the colleague backlash.
Yeah.
Have you experienced the backlash from the audience? So if I paint a picture,
Yeah.
my experience,
Uh-huh.
when I started off,
Yeah.
I was the unserious doctor.
Yeah.
Why does she have time for social media?
Yeah.
Why does she have
can
time for
relate with that so
side
much.
things that,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'm relating with her because she's showing me her day to day, but it
Yeah.
must mean she's not busy in the clinic, or
the
she doesn't
clinic,
have
yeah.
a thriving practice, or she's
Yeah.
bored, or she's idle, whatever the
So
narrative
she has
was.
time for that. Yeah.
Exactly, and
Same
that's
thing I
why
went
she has
through.
time. Not she's prioritizing, it's
Yeah.
a priority for
Oh,
her.
you're trying to balance no umejipanga.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't see it that way. They look at it as, hey, Daktari must be so idle,
Yeah.
so desperate, so bored.
Yeah.
So have you...
She's seeking attention.
Attention.
Online.
Guys,
Yeah.
the introvert in me, this is the
Imagine
last thing I want to do.
Yeah.
But people don't see it that way. So have you had that experience in...
Yeah.
Forget now the we'll come back to colleagues, but then now in terms of the audience, have you
Yeah.
had any backlash or any negative
Yeah.
experiences with your audience?
Yeah. I remember it's the same thing with you, especially when I was dancing. It's like why doctors dancing online.
Exactly, yeah.
And then it's not even coming from colleagues
Yeah,
now. It's
yeah.
coming from the audience
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
They're like, so half of them are happy to see this. They're like, oh, this is exciting
This is
and
exciting, this is
interesting.
relatable. Let me
Yeah.
also try this challenge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the other half is like, why are you a doctor even? Why are you dancing?
Yeah.
And then sometimes I used to check like their profiles. Like, you're a young person. Why do you have such a weird mentality?
Yeah.
Like things have really changed. That's one thing. And the hateful comments as well. So that was what used to like set me back from the audience. But I would say like 70% of the 5 years, it's been proper positive engagement, banter. Like
Yeah.
people telling something like, you've bantered me, you don't even know me, but that's like really good energy. And they all try, you'll see that they all try to remain within the boundaries. So I can say like 30% of the time hateful comments, but 7% of the time it has been a good time for me, honestly.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Back to business, because
Yeah.
that's part of the big chunk of this conversation.
Yeah.
How do you feel you've managed to leverage your social media presence and following to translate to positive numbers in business? Because at the end of the day, and in the economy we have currently, that remains a priority.
That's true.
What do you feel has worked well for you so far?
Yeah. So one thing I'll say, it's because when people relate with you, as we're talking about this earlier about the thick lensed doctor that you're going to change.
That I'm going to work on.
Yeah. So we're talking about that. Yeah. So people used to fear. It used to be, even going to see a dentist used to be something else.
Let me tell you,
like,
you're speaking
it's
to
so
me.
scary.
Oh my God.
Yeah, see, you
You're
see.
speaking to me as a person. How many times have I said, okay?
Since how many years ago, we were telling, I'll come, yeah.
Because every time I'm like, I'm ready now, and I'm like, no.
Exactly.
Pain, needles, that noise, the thing.
The drill, yeah, exactly.
Those things. So and it's from childhood. It's from the first dentist I went to as a child.
From when we were children, exactly. Yeah. So people used to view dentistry as that. So now when you come online, this is a dentist. Remember, we're not many of us. We only graduate 20 or so per year.
Yeah.
So they were like, oh, dentistry. Oh, you can talk about dentistry in a light note. You can talk about dentistry in a different way. People start to view dentistry in a different perspective. So one, they relate with you. So when they relate with you, they tend to want to come to your practice and you convert that to sales.
Yeah.
And so when they come to your practice, you're able to convince them to get treatment done.
Yeah.
And then you see the clinic grows.
Yeah.
But majority of it has stemmed from people relating with you online to wanting to now come to the clinic because they feel less anxious, less nervous when they come into their practice. And you'll honestly see people just walking in, they'll refer to something we were talking about, and then like you've broken the ice. And now
because I really love that you have destigmatized braces.
Exactly, yeah.
That's amazing because I watch your content regularly and I'm like, I'd be less afraid now
to get braces.
Get braces because as a kid I was like, absolutely not.
Not exactly. Even as the adults now, because some adults want to get braces done. This thing about wellness that's going on. People are watching their weight. People are watching their skin. People are now even watching their teeth. And you'll find that some adults want to get braces. They couldn't get braces when they were young. One, because of the myths and the misconception around it. Two, maybe because of resources when they were growing up. And now they have access to money and they can be able to afford that. You'll see that they're even taking that up. And it all stems from social media. So how do you keep this sustainable? You have to be consistent, because if you put content out today and you put content out in 3 months time, you'll have lost every single client. So there's that journey that you have to keep on taking. So every single time, as I was telling you, you have to keep posting, putting out content, teaching people, entertaining them. Also, when you teach them too much, they'll get bored.
Because again, nobody follows medics.
Who is even following medics?
Why? In fact, you're so boring, you're so traditional, you're so old school. And then I'll also look at colleagues' pages and go like, even me, I'd struggle to follow this page. But it's because we think a very specific way. Again, it's from training. I believe it's from training. Because medical training, I've always said, erases personality to replace with knowledge. So when you come out of training is when you have to search
like
for yourself.
Robot.
And if you continue, you will struggle because again, the audience doesn't find you relatable.
You'll find like in a week I'll just teach people about teeth once, but they'll never forget it. The other time we're talking about irrelevant things, but somehow still tying it back to the clinic. You'll find that it's still coming back to the clinic. And then I'll come on Monday or Tuesday and I'll teach you about something and you'll never forget that I've not bombarded you with information. You're not going to get consumer fatigue, because content consumers get a lot of fatigue. They just keep on seeing you, and whenever it's you who pops out, they scroll. Because they've just had enough of you already. So watch that as well. So by remaining relatable, by doing other things around dentistry that are people consume, but not necessarily education, but entertainment.
True, entertainment, And then it also helps with relatability in the sense that, like you've said, you're consistent, but you're also relatable. But you know that you come to my page as an authority on the subject. So I sprinkle in the information and the knowledge, but then a lot of the time it's, listen, I'm a human being. I don't work 24/7. If I'm in the gym, I'll bring you along. If I'm out at a wedding, I'll bring you along. If we're having something exciting happening in the family, as much as whatever I'm comfortable with, I'll bring you along. And I think maybe that specific messaging is to colleagues who may still feel,
that's true,
I'm too scared to put myself out there. I mean, it's the collateral that comes with being on social media. You have to get to a point of deciding how comfortable you are or what you're comfortable sharing, and then be consistent with that.
Be consistent with that, You find your own niche and then you be consistent with that. Because also try to debunk that thing that doctors are mythical gods. From somewhere. So they're like, oh, you can go to a wedding. Oh, you can do this. Or you can do this.
You have a social life.
Exactly. Oh, you do things that we do. And you'll find even in the comments, like even say in the DMs when they're bantering you or commenting on something, they always go like, you've never noticed Daktari had
Exactly.
They still give you that respect. They still give you that authority. You'll find, hey, Daktari hapa sasa. They'll always say that word. And like these people who are
because you don't need to. I don't feel like I have to chest thump. It's who I am.
You don't need
it's
to.
My identity. It's my personality at this point. It's my whole life. Because training also is many years, and it's your formative years especially.
That's true,
so coming back to now having to, no, I feel like I'll lose my authority if I keep showing. I don't think that's relevant.
It's not at all. It's not. It's never happened to me. I don't think it will ever happen. These guys, the consumers are also smart enough to know that this is this and this is that.
Navigating misconception, misinformation. I don't know what it looks like in dentistry. Maybe you'll tell us. But given that I sit in a space where SRHR in its broadness and related mental health is where my focus is, I consume pretty much as my consumers do, so that I understand what's happening on the ground. Like what videos, and again, it's almost unintentional now, because when people see you as an authority, they share to you to comment.
Oh, they do that a lot.
To debunk.
I mean, niambie kama hii ni ukweli. You know, like
is this, hey daktari, nimeona hii page. Is this true? And I like that, because again, it tells you what you're doing is effective.
That they actually trust you.
But what would you advice or recommendation would you have for the audience, those who are watching us or listening today, in terms of navigating medical or health information online?
You need to consume medical content with a lot of caution, for sure, because not everyone who's out there is giving the right information. Most people are giving the wrong information, or giving the right information in a twisted way for maybe a marketing perspective or something else. And they're selfish with why they're doing that. And also because when you, us as doctors, come with so much authority. So even if I masquerade as a doctor, someone who doesn't know that I'm not a doctor will listen to me, will consume that content. So you need to be very, very vigilant in that, because especially in our country, you are able to tell if someone is a doctor or not. You just go to the regulatory bodies website.
It's important we mention, because I had this conversation with a bunch of people who truly asked me, how would I find out who's a real doctor?
That's true.
And I was like, you don't know that?
People don't know that actually. People don't know that actually. So you can go to the website.
So the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council. They changed the name. So, so that's why I'm like, The website, the official website has all the registered doctors, and you just need to put in our names and you'll find us.
And you'll find it will pop up there. You'll see if someone has renewed their license for practice for the year or not. You'll see, I think, qualifications as well, if I'm not wrong. So you need to check that online. Anything you see online, please treat it come to that person who you have ensured is a true doctor, as you've just said. Send them the video, ask them, is this true or not? Or go to the clinic and confirm whether whatever you're being told to do online is true or not. Because you can consume a lot of wrong content online that is going to be harmful to you, harmful to your family, harmful to your friends. So you need to be very vigilant with that.
Because
and especially
remember the algorithm pushes you towards what you already consume.
More and more, especially on TikTok. And especially in dentistry, you'll find that people are going into cosmetic dentistry just like that. You've seen these crazy friends about
I think
veneers.
It's also just in general anything aesthetic, because it's also happening in derm, it's also happening in plastic surgery. Everyone is now suddenly jumping into aesthetics.
And this thing of instant gratification, someone just wants the results immediately. That's really in dentistry that does not work. So you want same day veneers, same day crowns. You've not done proper research on what this really entails. Will the person you go see really tell you the truth about what you're actually getting yourself into? Do you really actually need to get this veneers and these cosmetic crowns? So you need to be very vigilant with regards to that. Even with braces, you'll find that, I don't know if we should talk about this. Cadres that should not perform some work being...
We should. All things controversial. That's what this podcast is about.
So you'll find that there are cadres who have not trained enough to do a certain procedure doing it, just because they have minimal knowledge on something. And so what they do is that in their marketing, the way I was telling you, they'll put it out and give you braces at 5,000 or braces at 10,000.
Special offer.
Exactly. Braces at 5,000, 10,000. And you're like, why is this 10,000 and why is that 100,000 or something else, you know? And because one of Valencia used to say, I'm releasing you to the unsuspecting public. So if you are not good enough, just know me, I've let you go. And they will not know that you're not good enough. They will not, when they come into you, they won't know. So whatever you do, you'll affect them. Because the public is unsuspecting. So because of that, you'll find that now they've marketed that 10,000 for this. So they're performing all these procedures and at very low prices. And even if it's at extremely low prices, it's not good work. It's not quality work. Yeah. And how will you know? Again, you need to be vigilant about that. And also maybe us in the space, in the social media space, we need to put that information out more and more.
Yeah,
so that people get to know that you need to know who's doing what on you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Switching back to colleagues.
Yeah.
How do you navigate patient confidentiality and ethics when you're a social media person?
Yeah. So I usually say that patient confidentiality to me is sacred. It's totally sacred. Yeah. I will never share any before and after photos that has not been consented to properly, and not verbal.
It's written
down. And I'm not doing this to show off my good work, but I'm also doing this to educate the public and to also get new clients. I ask my patients, this is a good outcome. If people see this, they will be happy. There's an option of putting it with your face or not. They will agree or not. And also tell them that maybe you found us through that as well.
Exactly.
So there's someone else who also needs to see something like that, so that they get onto a journey like that. But consent. And if I ever find myself, so of course we not share names. No names are shared at all. No personal details are shared at all. If you just see a face, unless you know that face, there's nothing else you have. There's nothing you have with regards to that person. That's how I go around that. But patient confidentiality for sure.
It's secret for me as well, because I've never, I think right off the bat, I really set up in a way that I don't need to show my patients online. I don't think I have any need.
You have any need to
do
that.
And so I don't even. It's only when I have like a procedure with outcomes that then we can consent to taking photos, and I'll be able to share those photos with your consent. But it has no identifiers whatsoever.
Exactly.
And I never post according to the timing. So if I did a surgery and you come, by the time I'm posting about it, it's probably a year down there. Like it's been ages. It's much later. So it's not connectable to you unless you told people about it. The other thing I tell my patients is, if you want to share the story, go ahead. You tag me. I'll share. I'll reshare. It'll never be it'll never be me to initiate, because I don't want to ever cross the boundaries there. And the same with ethics in terms of practice. You have to uphold medical ethics first.
You have to.
Number one being, I will not consult online.
True.
I will not respond. In fact, I think people get fed up with me on my page for that, but I'm like, but you have access to come see me. We can have a virtual consult. We can have many ways of engaging professionally, but I'm not going to answer medical questions online. And it's part of why I stopped doing my Q&As as often as I did, because a lot of the questions I'm like, so Daktari, how do I treat my fibroids? Or I have been having this bleeding. And I'm like, I haven't seen you. I don't know what your medical history is. I don't know what your risk factors are. Nothing. So I can't give information without actually being harmful. So again, being careful with that approach. This is a fantastic conversation. As always, we can go over and over and on. But I still want to reach back in to mine a bit of more information from the colleagues' point of view, because I do get a lot of questions. I'm sure you also navigate the same, where it's a funny 360. The ones who hated the most now,
the ones now who
come and ask you,
how to do it.
Please show me how you, or what should I do? I'm trying to grow my social media. And I'm like, imagine, it's fine. Ask the question. It's fine. It's okay. I mean, I'll start charging a consulting fee, because this is a full-time job as well. It's how we're navigating it.
It's taken so many years to learn how to do what you do.
Exactly.
And you've invested so much. And you've put your life on the line as well.
Exactly. And you were on the hater side, remember? So me converting you is already first of all a win.
That's true.
But then advice to someone who's, regardless of how senior, how junior, wherever they are in their profession, thinking about starting off. What advice would you give them, given the situation as it is right now? That there's so much content, there's so many of us doing it, because that's what it feels like. It's not like a few years ago I would say we were 3 or 4. We'd meet at the gigs we go for, all the events we go for. We all say, Daktari, hi Daktari, hi Daktari. It's the same exact people. So what advice would you have for somebody who's in the medical profession, regardless of the specialty or the focus, who is thinking about starting on social media and becoming more prominent or becoming more active just basic, you know, starting points. Where should I think about starting? What should I be prioritizing versus how do I translate or do my best to gain conversion to the business?
Exactly. So I'll start with, like, first of all, we all need to accept that we are moving to a digital era. And part of the digital era is social media. It's right inside there. And so the conventional way of marketing, referrals, and all, they come afterwards, and especially to young people who are starting out, because like us, we started our practice 2.5 years ago with only like 2.5 years experience. So where were we supposed to get the clients anyway? Because we would have stayed in employment for a while, gained a couple of clients, and then gone into business. But because of social media, it's not a shortcut, but it helps you to achieve your goals at a faster rate. So go for it. That's point number one. Number two, you have to remain extremely consistent. Number three, you have to be ready for the challenges, of course. You have to remain very relatable. That's the one thing that sets you apart, because you'll find that if you're not relatable to the common person, you'll not be able to convert that to sales. You have to be smart about how you are relatable, because you can't explain obstetrics and gynecology in obstetrics and gynecology. You have to explain it in the common man's language, how they will understand. In fact,
even breaking it down on a day-to-day repetitive, it almost gets to a point where I'm like, goodness, will I ever elevate to a different
thing? Exactly.
I keep repeating the same topics, but I realize that's the need. That's the need of the community I serve.
Exactly. So you're trying to be very relatable to them. Being very humble as well. You will not come and try to be so authoritative. They usually say, if you have to say you're the king, then you're not the king. Exactly. So if you have to remind them that you are the doctor and whatever, they will not. Just be relatable, be consistent, be authentic. Teach in the most easiest ways. I have learned this over the last 5 years. Patients tell me, no one has ever explained to me a root canal the way you have explained to me a root canal. Because you don't have to use medical jargon. Then go for it. Put content out all the time. If you don't want your face to be out there, maybe you're the introverts of introverts. There's still a way to go around it to be a faceless creator. You can draw diagrams and explain to people things. There's still so many ways around it. But social media has to be a tool that you have to incorporate in your business. Whether you're an old colleague who used to hate, or you're a new colleague who is wondering why is my peer just taking off and taking off. At the end of the day, you'll realize that it's the way to go now. And then to remain extremely professional, as you said. No consults online. Just tell them, okay, I hear you, please come here and here. I always tell everyone who comes to my page asking for something, I'm like, in dentistry, it's very hard to tell if it's a root canal or not. You have to come to the clinic. So I always tell them that I have to examine.
We have to. There's no shortcut in medicine.
So that I can be able to do that. And that's remaining extremely professional. Even Dr. Rain is one of the person who told me, he doesn't do consults online at all. At all.
There's no room for it, because now you can sue me for malpractice.
That's
and
true.
Yet I was working off of the basic information you gave me.
I was just trying to be friendly.
Absolutely not.
And then you lose your license for it. Exactly. So that's what I would tell them. Please go for it. You have to be consistent. Again, I keep on saying that word all the time.
I like that you're hammering it in, because somebody asked me, why do you post? It's like you don't have anything else to do. You post every day.
Every single time,
Every day there's something on your stories. And I told them, for me, my advice, if I add on to what you've said, is learn the platform that you're working with. Because the analytics work differently, the insights work differently. What works on one versus another platform, it doesn't work the same. But then one of the things I learned very quickly is whatever your number of following is completely irrelevant.
It is.
How much engagement are you getting from that?
From whoever you have.
Exactly. Is there a percentage who are constantly with you regularly, or is it just they followed and then
they
moved
just
on? They've never looked at your page again. So in terms of consistency, I like that you're hammering it in, because for me, my viewing is biggest in stories as compared to what I post on the feed. So then, of course, I'm going to be active on my stories every day.
Which is where is the biggest engagement.
It's part of my deliverables for myself as a business, guys.
True.
Because again,
true, yeah.
you have to remind people from a consumer lens, this makes no sense. But
Yeah.
if you're a creator or somebody
You
who
know.
uses in
Yeah.
marketing, you're using it for growing a business,
Yeah.
you have to understand
You
what
have
the
to
numbers
understand
mean.
what works for you, yeah, and what the numbers work for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's go for it, guys. Go for it. And then I
Yeah.
always say, you see, them they used to hate fast, and then now they want to learn how to do it. I always
It
say
could
that,
have been so much easier, guys.
Exactly. Imitation is the highest form of compliment.
Amen.
Yeah. So,
Amen.
Yeah. So that means that you're doing something right,
Yeah.
and that's why everyone else is trying to come
Exactly.
to the other side. Yeah.
Yeah. So then for me, it's I think that's all the questions I feel like I had.
I think we've really covered
We've
that
covered
really,
a big
really well.
wide scope.
Yeah.
I'll leave the rest open to the audience to
Yeah.
reach out, comments, DMs, everything. I will tag
Yeah.
Dr. Naph's pages and
Yeah.
everything in the
Thank you.
description box.
Yeah.
This is both on YouTube and any other audio podcast platform
Yeah.
the Kikuyu had done
Yeah.
that you stream this podcast on,
Yeah.
so that if you would like us to build on the conversation, we can do so. If you have further questions, you can ask either of us and we'll be able to engage. Maybe I'll have you on for a live on IG.
Yeah, no problem.
You know, I still
yeah.
don't know how to live on TikTok, but we'll get there.
Tap, tap, tap.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
thank you. I want to say thank you so much for making the
Thank you for
time.
having me.
I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. I know it's your day
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
I know it's your day off.
Time for
But
you.
do we ever have
Yeah.
days off?
No, not really.
Medics.
Yeah, I would probably be doing something
I
that's
know
related
that's
to the
related
clinic.
to the clinic. Exactly.
Yeah.
But thank you for making the time.
Thank you for having
for
me.
informing and educating the audience. I'm sure
Yeah.
even I've picked up a few gems. I'm like,
Yeah.
He called it this, not this. Okay.
Exactly.
Take your notes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching, for listening all the way to the end. Feel free to leave a comment, respectful comment, DM, email. All the details will be there,
Yeah.
and we'll engage with you on socials. Until the next one, it's a bye-bye.